Hey up guys! So today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the long-awaited Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which is once again written and directed by Ryan Coogler. This film was met with its fair share of challenges, the biggest one of course being the tragic loss of the original film's star, Chadwick Boseman, who sadly passed away in 2020 at the age of 43 because of colon cancer. The whole world kind of grieved for Chadwick Boseman because his career was really taking off at that point. But yeah, RIP to Chadwick Boseman, we miss him dearly. Anyway, because of his passing, Ryan Coogler had to completely rewrite the script for the sequel to Black Panther. Coogler was facing a big decision as to how he was going to continue his Black Panther story without his star, Chadwick Boseman. So he thought the best course of action would be to write Chadwick's character T'Challa out of the story and continue without him, rather than having a new actor cast to play him or go down that whole digital CGI version of him. I'm so glad they didn't go down that route. Just because we've got the technology for it doesn't mean we have to use it, and I'm so glad they didn't. And I wholeheartedly support that decision. I think this was the most respectful route they could have taken, because Wakanda Forever really does honor not only the character of T'Challa, but Chadwick Boseman himself. During the opening credits, when you see the Marvel logo, it's all clips of Chadwick Boseman they use, and it was just lovely to sit in the cinema and see all the people respecting Chadwick Boseman and his legacy. Ryan Coogler really did draw from what was going on in real life and adopted it into the story, because in Wakanda Forever, King T'Challa has also passed away of an illness, and the whole country of Wakanda is now in mourning. It really parallels what happened to Chadwick Boseman and how the whole world was in mourning for him. Anyway, Wakanda is now left without a Black Panther to protect them, and Wakanda faces a new threat from an underwater civilization called Talokan, which is ruled by a gliding feather serpent god called Namor, or Namor, both pronunciations are correct apparently, who's played by Tina Huerta. So what did I think of Wakanda Forever? I am a little bit conflicted as to how I feel about this film, because on the one hand, this film really did hit me emotionally. As a tribute to T'Challa and Chadwick, I don't think Ryan Coogler could have done a better job. The opening and closing scenes of this film are immaculate. The ending in particular had me weeping and hard. So yeah, the start and end of this film are extremely well done, but honestly, all the stuff in the middle I did find a little bit messy. But I do have mad respect for Coogler for making such a dignified sequel which beautifully explores the process of grief. This film does have some flaws, but given everything that was going on in real life with this film's production, I am more forgiving of those flaws because of just how moved I was by this film, which is far more than I can say for most superhero movies these days. But let's start with the positives. As far as acting goes, everybody in this is incredible. Everybody brings their A game. You can tell they're doing this to honor Chadwick Boseman. But the three performances that stood out to me the most were Letitia Wright, Angela Bassett, and Danai Gurira. You can tell they were channeling a lot of their own grief for Chadwick Boseman into their performances of their characters grieving for T'Challa. At times, it doesn't even feel like they're acting. Massive props to Letitia Wright, because like her character Shuri, she's kind of been thrusted into the spotlight now because of what happened to Chadwick in real life. So yeah, she's now like front and center, and Letitia Wright really is the emotional center of this film, and she absolutely delivers. Angela Bassett, always reliable. Is she gonna get an Oscar nom? Keep watching to find out. Danai Gurira really gets an upgrade in this film. She's always been an MVP supporting player in the MCU, but in Wakanda Forever, her character has her own arc. She also gets most of the funniest lines in this film, along with Winston Duke in a sparingly used M'Baku. And that's one other thing that I liked about Wakanda Forever, is that Ryan Coogler and co-writer Joe Robert Cole downplayed the comedy in this film. A lot of movies in Phase 4 of the MCU have really leaned into the comedy to the point where it's become a little bit grating, but Wakanda Forever is a much more somber film, and it still does have some humorous moments in it, but I would say it has just the right amount of humor in it, because it's there to add a little bit of levity every now and then, but that's it. Ruth Carter's costumes are once again gorgeous. I didn't know it was possible for me to love Lupita Nyong'o even more, but then I saw her in this pink dress in one scene in this movie, and I'm like, good God, she is gorgeous. Although I will agree, there is one superhero costume in this which does look a bit ugly in the design. But I guess it's supposed to because the characters are pointing out how they think it's ugly. But yeah, all the things that were great about the first one, all the things that was Oscar nominated for, like costume design, production design, score, they're all great again in this movie. But of course, it's not as groundbreaking or as exciting as what we got in the first film. As for negatives, the main issue that I have with this film is that there is a lot going on in it. Like, it is quite bloated in the amount of storylines and characters that it's got. You've got all these interesting characters who just don't get enough screen time, which is funny because the film is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. It is a long movie. The stuff with Martin Freeman's Ross character chops in and out, and I could have used a little bit more of Michaela Cole as the warrior Anika. Yeah, she kind of gets forgotten about in the middle bit of this film. And then you've got the introduction of Dominique Thorne's character, Riri Williams, who is going to be a key player in the MCU. She's getting her own series on Disney+. I don't want to reveal too much about her character, but she is a tech-savvy girl with a lot of charisma. But the problem is her character is underwritten. It really feels like she's only here as a Marvel mandate, as an introduction to a new character, new MCU plot threads that they're setting up. Don't get me wrong, Thorne is great in the moments that she has, and I do want to see more from her, but I did question whether her inclusion in this film was necessary. Like, did she really need to be in this film? It's just one more tacked on subplot in an already overstuffed screenplay. And quite frankly, the whole Wakanda versus Talokan plot felt redundant, given the similarities of these two civilizations which hid themselves in order to protect themselves from colonization, slavery, and genocide. It seems odd that they would be at war with each other. Where the two civilizations end up at the end of the film is where they should have started, really, and it just feels like we're treading water for 2 hours. There's a lot of exposition in this film, more expansion and world building, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't feel as focused as the first film, and it also lacks the electricity of the first film, which, let's face it, a lot of that came from Chadwick Boseman himself. His absence really does feel felt, and despite best efforts from everyone on board, they can't fill the void that Chadwick Boseman left when he passed away. The CGI as well, there is a lot of it, and there were times where I thought it was quite noticeable. Like, I don't think it's as bad as the first film's final act showdown, but Wakanda Forever still can't help but have a big CGI extravaganza battle for its third act showdown. And I was aware that I was watching a mostly computer-generated action sequence, which was just kind of meh. And to be honest, the action sequences in this film overall, none of it is particularly memorable. And my last negative of this film is something I have to tiptoe around because there's a little bit of a spoiler, but suspension of disbelief is taken to a whole new level in this film because there's one character who has an injury, let's say, which looks pretty fatal, but they pretty much survive this. My first reaction was, "'Tis but a scratch." Okay, there's superheroes who have enhanced abilities and healing and all that, but how have they survived this? I do not understand. Like, it doesn't even seem to phase the character. And that's kind of what bothers me, is that you've got characters incurring like what look like very lethal blows, and yet being absolutely fine afterwards. It's just like, do actions have consequences? That's my issue with it. It just makes me think that one day we're going to watch a movie where the Hulk gets his head chopped off and he's still going to be fine. But yeah, if any of you guys know which scene I'm talking about and can explain to me how they survived, that would be dandy. Pop it in the comment section below. As for Oscar noms, I actually think we might have a race now in the Best Original Song category, because I've been thinking that it was a done deal. Lady Gaga had it in the bag for Hold My Hand, Top Gun Maverick. And when I listened to Rihanna's Lift Me Up on the radio last week, I thought, oh, this is a lovely, nice ballad. I do like it. But when I heard how the song was implemented into Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and the emotional response I had, I was like, okay, now I love this song, and now we have an actual race. And yes, it's technically an end credit song, which I'm normally not a fan of, but just watch it for yourself and see what I mean. Like, I felt all the feels when it came on. I was like, damn, it was so good. I actually think that Best Song might be this film's best chance of winning an Oscar next year. Which would be funny because Ryan Coogler has a writing credit on the song, and it would be very strange if he won his first Oscar for Best Original Song rather than directing. It'd be kind of like when Stanley Kubrick won Best Visual Effects for 2001: A Space Odyssey instead of directing. As for other Oscar noms, I could see some repeat nominations for the categories we got nominated for in the previous film, like costume design, production design, score. My only concern is, will the Academy think, oh, we've already honored Black Panther and the people behind it. Do we need to honor it again? Like, what else is new? I do think costume design and production design have a good chance. Could it also get a hair and makeup nomination this time around? It didn't for the previous film, which was a bit weird. As for score, it could get in for Ludwig Göransson, but score is actually looking to be quite a competitive year this year, so I could see it missing. A few of you guys have been asking me about Angela Bassett getting a Best Supporting Actress nomination. I'll say this, it is a great performance, but I'm not sure it's an Academy Award nominated performance. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see it happen. Like, Angela Bassett is way overdue for a second Oscar nom, but I don't have her in my predicted 5 at the moment. But can it get into Best Picture like Black Panther did? I sadly don't see Wakanda Forever as a Best Picture nominee, guys. While it certainly does have an emotional resonance with Chadwick Boseman and all, the Academy is just very rarely kind to honor superhero movies and also sequels, which Black Panther is both those things. It's a superhero sequel. Is this the first film to do it? I wouldn't be mad if it happened. It would be nice to see it happen, but there's just so many big blockbuster sequels competing to get into Best Picture this year, like with Top Gun Maverick, Avatar: The Way of Water, Glass Onion, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. The Academy isn't going to nominate all 4 of those. We would be lucky to get 2 of those, I think. But yeah, I'm just not sure Wakanda Forever is a Best Picture nominee. But that's my question for you guys today. Which blockbuster sequels are you anticipating will get into the Best Picture category at next year's Oscars? Whatever you think, pop it in the comment section below. And while you're at it, hit the little like button if you like my video. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch it again? Yes. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Yes, I do. Even though it has its flaws, Wakanda Forever is still worth watching because it's a Ryan Coogler film. You're always guaranteed passion and heart with his films, but you also do get that Marvel spectacle as well. It's his loving tribute to Chadwick Boseman, and the whole cast brings their A game. I do have some gripes with it, but the film really did hit me emotionally. So yes, I do recommend you go watch this one in the cinema. And third question, what score to give it out of 10? Wakanda Forever feels like a very fitting conclusion to Phase 4 of the MCU. A lot of what Phase 4 has been about mourning and grief and loss, and no greater loss has been felt than that of us losing Chadwick Boseman in real life. And Wakanda Forever celebrates both T'Challa and the beloved actor that played him. It's definitely more emotionally impactful than the first film, but I do think the first Black Panther was a better movie overall. So I'm going to give Black Panther: Wakanda Forever a score of 6.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I do want to hear from you. Have you seen Wakanda Forever? If you have, what did you make of this movie? Let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. For more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe, and if you want to follow me on any of my socials, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, it's all in that video description down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.